Hey, welcome into Juck on Bucks. I'm live on a Sunday, I guess. Yeah, it's Sunday, late Sunday night. I said on my Sunday show that aired earlier today that I would be live at 2 p.m. today. Um, Unfortunately, I'm about 7 hours late. Sorry about that, guys. We ran into a little hiccup here at the house, but I wanted to make sure that I did get on because I said I was going to get on. And I'm just seeing now Devin is saying that I'm going on live at the same time as our buddies over at the OHIO live show. I feel really bad about that. I'm sorry. I had no idea. I apologize, guys. Hey, Dorian, how you doing? Stephanie in the house. What's up, everybody? But I wanted to hit on a couple things. I got so on my Sunday show, I had made the show fresh. So I was at a party, and I hadn't been up to date on the news, and I had just got the news about Dorian Brew, and I was pretty salty. And a couple of you guys were pretty irritated with my salty demeanor in my Sunday show. I always give myself 24 hours when I get news that irritates me to go ahead and be angry about it. And then I chill out. So I'm totally chilled. Everything's cool. The world is great. Our DB class is obviously fantastic. You can't have everybody. We've got a budget we got to work off of. And when Dorian Brew is the number 3rd cornerback target in our class and number 1 for everybody else, obviously those dollar signs are going to be out of whack. And he was always going to have to take less to come to Ohio State, which I still believe he wanted to. But in the end, when you look at the battle for him in Texas and LSU and Ohio State and USC were the 4 players for a while now. And then he ends up going to Oregon out of the blue. Kind of tells you everything you need to know about what happened there at the end of that battle. So, it is what it is. And that's just the era we live in now. We got to save that money for the big dogs. We got David Sanders on the line, Jakeem Stewart when he reclassifies, Malik Autry. And, unfortunately, we don't end up with Dorian Brew. But the room is absolutely loaded currently at the university in the class of 2025 and looking fantastic in the class of 2026. But I do notice sometimes doing this show that we've got a lot of, I see people comment, recurring commenters, and there's definitely some people who always harp on the negative, and some people wanted to tie in the Dorian Brew news with offensive line recruiting misses yesterday. And then there's always the ones that they call the sunshine pumpers, who, if you say anything that they deem negative, they come at you like you are a traitor to the program. I think it's okay to have both opinions when news comes up, and voice your opinion that something sucks, and it sucked that we lost Brew, and still be able to be of the mind that yes, things are great. Our program is in amazing shape. The class of 2025 is a fantastic class, and everything's great in Buckeye world. So, I think it's okay to just talk about situations honestly as they come about. And that's what I like to do. Ryan Daysbeard, my guy, what's up, buddy? He says, I don't think we flip Brew. Our cornerback room is stacked. The more I have heard since yesterday, the more I'm thinking the same thing. And Brew really was, it wasn't just, the money, also the competition in the room. And he gets to go be number 1 out there at Oregon. He's going to be number 1 anywhere else. He's going to be their prize DB recruit. It was always going to be tough when we end up with number 1 and number 2 to land another 5-star. And, you thought you had the angle because of his mom being in the Athletics Hall of Fame. Of course, you think you have the angle too with McNutt's parents both being alums. So it's just the way it goes sometimes, man. The circumstances dictated it. And Richie Dubs says, I didn't poop on Brew for the decision. All I did was express my disappointment. You represent us well, man. Thank you, dude. I didn't at all. I totally understand his decision. And I totally understand the Buckeyes' decision. Like, you can only do what you can do and still be able to land the biggest targets that we have on the line. Everything they did is, I think, the way any of us would have handled it. Maybe from both parties, to be honest. And, sometimes it just doesn't work out the way we want it, and that's okay. But I appreciate you guys joining me. I see a lot of names, new friends I've made, and I did want to hit on this. Mika brings up Dwayne Galloway should get an offer, and Dwayne Galloway out of Marion Franklin. He's a top 200 overall corner, and he is basically, there's a couple guys rated higher than him that haven't committed anywhere yet, but they are big in. We're talking a couple prized recruits that are big in on other places, been on their officials, probably making their decisions soon. One, I think, is guaranteed to go to Miami. The other one's from Tampa, and he's a top 10 cornerback. And I don't see any other options other than Brew. We haven't heard any other options coming out, but everything I'm hearing is the Buckeyes are not interested in Galloway. And I'll be honest, I've not studied a lot of Dwayne Galloway. I've never watched his film. I do know that when he came to camp, he ran blazing fast times. He's a little bit frail. But, we're talking about a third corner in the class to take a flyer on a local guy who's really fast. He's got the prerequisite size at 5'11", 6 foot. I don't know why you wouldn't. It doesn't prevent you from going after anybody in the portal, and you just might develop him into something really, really good. So, in a hometown guy who obviously the more we can get of those in a class where you're really piling up the numbers, I don't know why not. But, we don't get to make those decisions. And we also don't know, we've never met Dwayne Galloway. There's all sorts of things that we don't know when it comes to these recruitments. But on the surface, it looks to me like it would be a nice fit. But I've got a comment here from Fisherman. Now, this is a gentleman I talk to in the comment section often. He really knows his stuff. He says they won't go after Galloway, in my opinion. Can you elaborate? Do you know anything more about this situation? Have you read some more? I don't know a ton about it, to be honest. Mika says he deserves an offer, in my humble opinion. And Mika is the biggest advocate for Ohio high school football players I know. So I am absolutely, I got a ton of respect for her, because if you guys have ever heard me, I don't know. It's kind of a lot of my stance on a lot of things. When all things are close to equal, defer to the Ohio player, because the Ohio player brings something in that locker room that the other guy doesn't. And that's kind of my opinion on things. Wesley says, everyone talks bad about the O-line. What was your perception before the Missouri game? I think that's a general statement, but my perception before the Missouri game is that they were pretty average and should have been better. I don't use that Missouri game as a way to judge how that offensive line performed last year, because that decision to change around the offensive line and put Matt Jones at center and Enoch at right guard was a decision that totally changed things, and we shouldn't really use that to judge the offensive line. However, it was it showed the lack of depth that with one guy out, that's how poor it looked, right? There's an article that came out today that I wanted to go over with you guys. I think this is pretty interesting. 247 Sports released an article that all the athletic departments have declared their fiscal year for 2023, and it has the athletic department revenue. And the Buckeyes topped the charts again at $279 million, which is just absurd. $64 million in ticket revenue alone, $62 million in donations to the athletic department. To put that in context, Michigan had $31 million in donations to the athletic department. Penn State had only $7 million. And that just blew me away, man. Like, these guys, they whine about James Franklin a lot. I don't really see them supporting their program. But the Buckeyes were number 1, Texas A&M number 2, Texas number 3, Michigan number 4, Georgia number 5, Penn State was number 7. So number 7 in their revenue, but incredibly short with their booster donations. Tennessee number 8, and LSU and Alabama rounded out the top 10, which was pretty interesting. Brian Days Beard says, the only decision I cannot support is when they spurn us for Teton. I can't say nice things about that. Outside of that, kids will be kids and they have to make the best decision for them. It's true. It's true. And who knows, if Dorian Brew ends up coming to Ohio State and, we do play three corners. He could have played the slot, but I don't think he wants to play the slot. I think he wants to learn to be an outside corner. And is he ever going to beat out Devin or Naeem? It's probably pretty doubtful, to be honest. So it probably was the best decision for him. But I do think his heart really wanted to be at Ohio State just based. And I've referenced the interview that he did with Mark Givler a couple times. When you watch that interview, man, it is just clear. The dude loves Ohio State. Talked about him in the terms of we, when he was at the Penn State game, we were down or we were playing great on defense. And it just really, he referenced himself as an Ohio football player, which I had this discussion a couple times today. Somebody said to me about, can we quit calling him an Ohio football player? He's not. He played in Texas. Well, it's true. He did play last year in Texas, but he still considers himself an Ohio football player. So if he didn't consider himself that, I would probably drop it. But, if he considers himself that, and he grew up in Ohio, and his mom in the Athletic Hall of Fame, I thought that one was going to go our way despite the disadvantages. But, it is what it is. Cody Holzinger says, fast doesn't always mean anything. If the staff doesn't want Galloway, it's not for any reason more than they don't think he's good enough. Well, it's true, but, we don't necessarily know for sure that they don't. We know that they didn't offer him yet, and they couldn't. If they had offered him before Dorian Brew, he probably would have jumped at the offer, and now they've got more than they want. So now that Brew's off the board and who we knew to be their backup option, Brandon Finney, also off the board, also to Oregon, which is just a bummer. They may circle back, but, again, we don't know for sure. Curse Design says, yes, we do need membership, Chuck, and moderators. I nominate me and Dorian. Okay, guys, sure. I don't know how to do that. So, as you know, I'm new at the whole live deal, and I'm just I came on tonight just to try to get more of a comfort level so I can maybe add this into the weekly rotation, because the other day when we went live with the Trajan Odom announcement, I was going to be on for like 5 to 10 minutes, and I almost chickened out at the last minute, but I did it, and I was happy that I got through it, and I actually enjoyed it, and we went for like an hour and 15 minutes. So I was like, okay, maybe if I can get a couple more reps today, and the more I do it, maybe the more I'll feel comfortable with it, and maybe we can add it into the week rotation, because I do like to have these open discussion formats where we can just kind of talk amongst ourselves. And okay, Fisherman's got a follow-up on Dwayne Galloway, as he knows a little bit about him more than myself. Galloway is very raw, but a great athlete. Yeah, he certainly looked like a great athlete when I watched the clips of him at camp, and absolutely burned it on his times. He looked really, really fast. Hey, Sean Schrock in the house, my good buddy. OG Juck on Buxer. First week. What's up, buddy? Coconut Dreams. Good evening, my friend. Mellow in the house. Mika is definitely an OG. Ken Taco Hut. Always loved this guy's name, man. Ken Taco Hut. That's a good one. Hey, Larry. Odysseus says, recruit Ohio and get Fry and Bailey to coach. Get Fry and Bailey to coach them up, or get someone else who will. Yeah. I'll tell you what. I was really, I hit on it yesterday, but really, really happy that we ended up bringing Brody Lennon in this class, tight end Brody Lennon. I think that's the perfect kind of guy to bring in as a second tight end. And I took some heat over saying that for some reason. I don't know. A lot of people think because he's a 3-star that he's not worthy. And I understand everybody wants nothing but 5 stars. But you need guys like that. You need guys that will want to be Buckeyes for 4 years, regardless of what happens. That guy's never transferring, has a ton of raw talent, ran a 4.5 40 at camp. They measured him, not some high school numbers, and wants to be a Buckeye, got the size at 6'4" already, 220 in his film, albeit against very garbage competition. It just, to be honest, it's really low level competition. It's incredibly exciting. In a 16-minute long clip, both offense and defense. Kid loves football, loves to hit. I'm really excited about him. And he really was in the discussion at the same time as Luka Gilbert and Brock Schott. I think some people thought that he was just an add-on at the end, like a panic move, throw an offer to a 3-star. That's not what happened. It really isn't. But, some people don't want to hear it when it's about a 3-star, and it is what it is. Stephanie. How we doing, Stephanie? This cornerback room is the best since Akuta, Wade, and Sheffield who transferred. It is something. It is absolutely something. And the way we are stacking class after class, and again, when we look at 2026 with Rock Hill and Vic Singleton in state, already with the leg up on them, developing really good relationships with them, bringing Eli Lee in this year, which opens up Hoban even more, which was a very daft move by the coaching staff. And after their previous 2 linemen who went to big schools went to Tennessee and Michigan, to have Eli there to kind of bridge that gap to get in to that school, which is one of the most talented in the state now. And the cornerback room looking amazing. The future looks amazing. And it just absolutely reminds you of the classes that Saban was stacking in his cornerback room during the best of the best teams that he had throughout his run, where they would just go first rounder gets replaced by first rounder coming in. It was amazing. And this is the closest thing we've seen to that. It really is. Ken Tacos Hut says, hammer will drop. We just need to be patient. Man, oh man. How long does it take? I don't understand this, dude. You feel like this should have been done 3 months ago. And I don't follow this at all because it's just frustrating because it's been going on so long. I did for a while. But now it's like, I heard that letter was supposed to come out, I don't know, maybe last week. What do they call that letter? That letter where they send it to them, notice of allegations, and then they have like 45 days to respond to that. Carice Washington, hey, y'all, first-time listener. Fantastic to have you in. This isn't the normal format. I don't know if this represents the show as it truly is, but I'm very happy to have you. Disdain Rogue, I had Penn State at 20 at least, 7 million. So let me be totally accurate. So the 7 million was their athletic department. That was the donations from the boosters to the athletic department. Their total revenue was 181 million, which put them at 9th place, which, they're in the top 10. That's great. But $7.3 million in donations to the athletic department, with Ohio State at 57 million in donations to the athletic department, Michigan at 31. And I suppose there could be a different reason for that as well. So when Gene Smith when NIL first came about, he was instructing donors like this to keep all those donations in the athletic department. So I suppose you could say that maybe there's only 7.3 because Penn State is telling all their boosters to divert that to NIL, though I doubt it, but it could be. At any rate, incredibly low when you look at that. I mean, I'm not good at math, but 15% of Ohio State's in a state that has a bigger population, about 13 million over there. We got about 10 or 11. Hey, JR, listen, I understand you guys were doing a live show recently. apologize. I didn't mean to step on your toes. I had no idea. I was just doing a get back here because I had scheduled, not scheduled, but I discussed in my show last, I guess it was scheduled at 2. And I was really busy. So I had to put it off. Brandingo has the picture of OG Walt wearing what I have found out recently is called a poo shiesty. He says, thanks for hosting this, Chuck. Even with missing on Dorian and likely McNutt, we still have a stacked secondary class for 25, plus key pieces already on the roster. Downs, Matthews, Scott, West, Calvin Simpson, Hunt, and Styles. Absolutely, man. I mean, it doesn't get much better than this, right? Absolutely doesn't get much better than this. And again, in 2026, with Vic Singleton and Rock Hill, who, you know, I'm going to say they're about as close to locked up as you can possibly have for 2026 guys so far. Richie Dubs says, take whatever resources that were put into Brew, put them into Sanders. He is the priority. 100%. 100%. And I think we're going to have to wait till the end of August to find out what's going on there. And we saw yesterday, I showed in the show, Mr. Malik Autry. Oh, geez, I don't have the picture loaded up anymore. Wearing his Buckeye gear, wearing his Buckeye shirt, which was exciting to see. He also put out a cryptic tweet. And, you know, I don't know, man. They might be making some movement there. I don't want to get my hopes up too much because it's kind of like pulling a Columbus kid who's committed to Ohio State out. So it's a long shot. But, man, would that be nice. Also, Jakeem Stewart, when he reclassifies, you need that money. You can't go spend it in a cornerback number 3. Bradley Dunkel says, this class will be fantastic when it's all said and done. It already is, and we're in on some of the top guys. Absolutely, we are, and it is a great class. Hey, I've been pumping this class since my first show, actually. I look back, and my first show, I was talking about this class. Unfortunately, I was talking about Javon Boggs, who's obviously long since decommitted. And I was pumping up Javon Boggs, I think, in episode 1, who is did he commit to Missouri? I knew he was thinking about Missouri. I hadn't heard the end of that. JR says, Dwayne would be a good add in other classes. Unfortunately, he just doesn't fit in this one in my mind. JR, do you have a mind for, or do you have an idea who you would like to see as a third corner, or do you just want to pass on that? Shepherd Duck says, nah, Brew and Finney to Oregon is amazing, Juxter. Yes, it is amazing for you. Obviously, a very pleasant surprise. Did you think that Finney was coming because it was thought that he was a very heavy Penn State lean when he surprisingly chose Oregon? And then, obviously, I know you didn't expect Brew. I know you didn't. Dev says, if you had to pick one, would you pick Pettijohn or Hill? Hill, all day. I really like Pettijohn, but I just think Hill is a different type of game changer, and from Ohio. So, you know, I'm always going to defer that way. And we get to find out Wednesday. JR says 65 people in here and only 11 likes. Like the video for Chuck. Yeah, that'd be sweet. Bradley wants Pettijohn over Hill. Is that what you're saying, Bradley? You want Pettijohn over Hill? I really like him. I wish I had his video loaded up. I have it. I had it in the other show. Both are awesome. Absolutely. Ken Taco says, Ken Taco, don't chicken out. You have a dedicated following in this group. Hey, man, you guys are awesome. I'm telling you, this is so much fun for me. Since I started this show, just interacting and getting to know so many of you guys. And I absolutely love waking up in the morning because I load the videos at night, wake up in the morning and get to read the comments. That's always so much fun for me. Terry says, Sanders, Autry, Pettijohn, Hill. We want them all. Let's get it. Man, that would be a dream. So what are you guys thinking? I think we land Sanders. I'm now leaning towards we land Pettijohn, and I think Hill is locked up, which leaves Autry as the only iffy one for me. So I think we probably end up 3 or 4 out of that. But the Sanders stuff, I got to tell you, I was very like, yeah, there's not a shot, because I've been very maybe negative, we'll say. My overall opinion's been negative of Fry as a recruiter. And I just didn't think that he would be able to pull it off. And the fact that they've actually gotten it from where it was to, if we're to believe everything that we're hearing, to top 2 and maybe leading, it's damn impressive. It really is. And I know it was an all hands on deck deal, but I still got to check myself in my negativity towards Justin Fry that I've had and give him a whole lot of credit. If they're able to pull this off, I got to give it to him. Blue Wolverine says, your show has consistently improved. Salute from a rival fan. That's very kind of you, man. I really appreciate that. Thank you. $4.99. Wow, man. Thank you so much. Incredibly generous of you. Appreciate you. Sean says, cursed, I went to the OSU store that Chris Wilde's cousin owns. My family is from Marion. Sean, is that the one that's split down the middle, or is that the one in Sandusky that you sent me the picture of? Sean sent me a picture of a store that is, it's 50% Ohio State, 50% Michigan, split down the middle, which is pretty funny. Mello says 4.5 speed. Yes, I'll take that from my tight end, right? Like, what are we talking about here? Absolutely. Really surprised that anybody had an issue with that at all. Am I like way behind? I think I am here. Dev says 2024, 2025, Natty Lock. Thanks for the 5, my brother. Appreciate you. I'm telling you, man, very few times in my life have I been so optimistic coming into a season. I'm usually kind of the hold off. I don't want to get my feelings hurt, so I don't like to put myself out there saying or feeling or thinking like we could actually get this one done. Man, I feel it. I feel it in my bones. This is the year. The OHIO podcast. Hey, Juck is live. 3 Buckeye shows in a row. Hey, man, I'm sorry. I just came on and stepped on your toes right there at the end there. I really had no idea. I have been out of the loop all day. But you guys always have a fun live show. Mello says everyone should like Devin's super chat because it's fire and 100% accurate. Absolutely. We should like that puppy. Somebody says Buckeye football and we all gather. We absolutely do. And our Blue Wolverine says, I'm in most Big Ten podcasts fairly regularly. Have to pay attention to what OSU is up to. I totally understand that. I certainly pay attention to what our main rivals are up to as well. Usually I read, though. I don't really like the podcast format, but I always read I always check the blogs. JR says, if Scoop goes live at 7, OHIO at 8, and Chuck goes live at 9 every Sunday night, Buckeye fans for in. That's not a bad idea. I will, I'll do that. I'll plan an actual show, though. Today I didn't plan a show. I don't really have anything, any format for you guys or any segments. I guess next time I'll do that. Like I said, I just wanted to pop on and do a little open format. Talk to you guys. Shepherd Duck says, Chuck, I got to ask. Man, I'm telling you guys. I'm sorry. I'm getting old. Chuck, I got to ask. I don't know if you've done any early predictions. But who you think's taken? I'm going to do a big prediction show. And I want to get everything on record so that I can come back and tell you Ducks how right I was at the end. um, Georgia versus Texas. I like Texas to win the SEC, to be honest. I'm going to go with Texas to win the SEC. And they're the dogs, and they should be the dogs, but I just got a feeling, maybe it's my heart. I don't like the way the SEC idiots are treating them in Oklahoma like they did when Missouri and A&M joined the conference. You're just going to get thumped. And it wasn't long before both Texas A&M and Missouri were playing in SEC championship games. And I really hope, even though I don't like the programs, that Texas and Oklahoma do the same thing to them, because they're just, you would think they would be less arrogant after it just happened with Texas A&M and Missouri. They said the same stuff, Missouri for crying out loud. They said the same stuff about them, and then they came in and were immediately playing fantastic. So I'm really hoping that Texas and Oklahoma do the same thing to them. My buddy Terry. Terry, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Is there any chance that we'll revisit taking running back Kentrell Reinhardt for the third? No. I really love his talent. He's big. He's fast. He's not quick in small spaces. But I don't think that, I think that there is a different issue. I don't think that there is, I don't think it's a culture fit, just to be quite honest. I just get the feeling that something was off there, and I talked to somebody that kind of felt the same way. They also, after he came to camp the last time, they pretty much made it clear that they weren't going to offer him. And they said it with, what did they say? It was a BS story. It was a BS story. They took one back in this class, and they don't know if they're going to take two, is what they said to him. Just totally kicked him off. And we all knew all along they were definitely taking two. And then he went and tweeted some very, I guess he was hurt, obviously. And he tweeted some things that made it sound like he was really irritated about it. And he was. And then Syracuse, he had a visit the week after that to Syracuse, and they canceled his visit. And then I started hearing he's kind of a jerk. Like, that's just what I was hearing. And I don't know if it's true or not, but, you know, it definitely seemed like people were kicking him off their board. So I don't know what's there. You know what I mean? But it does. I was really rooting for him to get that, because I think he's a heck of a talent. But I don't know. It seems like something's off there. Something was off with the relationship. And, you know, then Syracuse did that to him. Last I heard, he was visiting Iowa and NC State. I don't know how those went. I hope they went good for him. I'm rooting for the kid. Local kid. I think he's absolutely talented. Cody Holzinger says, this channel is growing so fast. It goes to show knowledge plus liability goes a long way. Chuck and Kirk are the everyman's voice of OSU while staying PG. Yeah, well, I don't like to say swear words on the show because I upset Steven, Grandpa Steve. He has since emailed me and said thank you. He likes to watch with his granddaughter and said she's a fan, my youngest fan. She's 6 years old. She's a fan of Juck on Bucks. I love that. Donnie Barter says, hey, Juck, finger red number 1. Ken, Bradley, Devin, Cujo, Coconut, CW. CW2's in here. I missed him. What's up, buddy? Finger red number 1. Shepherd Duck says it's time for some hot takes to come out for UGA to lose 2 games next year. I don't care anymore. They're losing to Texas and Bama. I got them losing to Texas. I do, for sure. Todd Young. This is my opinion on this, too. If they're Ohio guys, can I take them 3 stars if they're fast, especially? I'm with you. One thing that's always bothered me is taking 3 stars from out of state. I feel like we have plenty of, if you're going to go down the board, we've got plenty in Ohio that you can go down the board for. I did make an exception a little bit this year when I was just Andrew Stargell. I really like that kid. I really like that lineman a lot. Did I say it wrong again? Listen, I've tried this 5 times. Did I say it wrong again? Somebody told me it's a post-shiesty mask when I asked what it was, or did I say poo-shiesty mask? I don't know, man. That's a strange name. Is that the actual name or is that a nickname? Mika loves Kentrell Reinhardt. I love his talent. I really do. I really do. I was pushing for him hard. I was pretty disappointed when he didn't get to offer him when they gave him a BS story. But to be honest, when I've listened to him talk in his interviews, he does seem a little too cool for school. But you never know. You never know. They're young guys. They like to put off an image sometimes. It might not be how they really act when you're around them. JR says, of course, Naeem had to wear the Oregon shirt after Brew committed. Just ammo for those Duck fans. I missed this, JR. Where was he wearing that? He did not. I can't believe he did that. I'm looking for JR's answer here. I haven't got it yet. OHIO podcast says losing Javon Boggs breaks my Boggs heart. So this is Eric Boggs, right? So if we got Javon Boggs, he could go ahead and get that jersey. It would be accurate and his last name. That would have been sweet. I would take a Maletti jersey any day. That would be fantastic. I don't know. I got a big old nephew. We'll see what happens with him. JR says no one in mind exactly, but right now Deshaun Stewart could play nickel. He has the size, in my opinion. Yeah, he does, but that still has us at 5. We were potentially pushing 8 in the secondary. I mean, kind of need bodies, right? And I don't think a guy who's rated in the top 200 is just a body. I don't know, man. Like I said, I don't know a ton about him. And to be honest, cornerback film, the absolute most boring thing in the world to me. It's something I don't really watch. So I've never really developed a very daft eye. I'm not confident in my eye for it. I can watch Devin Sanchez and Naeem Offord and say, oh my gosh. But if we're talking about, rank this guy versus this guy, these 2 4-stars that aren't flashing like crazy, it's not something I feel confident in evaluating anyway. Not enough to give an opinion on it. Our guy Terry says, Chuck, how you feeling? Hill on the 3rd. Justin Hill. Justin Hill's a Buckeye unless something crazy happens. That's how I'm feeling. Bradley says, Ken, you said it. The boys are famished and ready to smash. You know it. Shepard says, I expected Finney. I saw Scoop Duck talking about him. Nah, I didn't see us brewing up Brew like that. But Dan and Uncle Phil cooked. Dan, listen, this is why I respect you, okay? Now, anybody with any sense knows that Oregon was not in that Final Four down the stretch. And, things happened right at the end there, and he ends up at Oregon. Can we stop pretending, right? You know what I mean? Like, I know when we do it, and I'll happily say it. Like, yeah, we came in and used our resources wisely. We needed that player. It's okay. But, you say that and some of the Duck fans, and I get it, because a lot of people automatically say whenever Oregon lands a recruit, they threw him a bag. So I get how it's probably frustrating. But in this scenario with Dorian Brew, pretty evident what happened. And I'm not saying they didn't do a good job recruiting him, but they weren't in his Final Four down the stretch. But you know what I mean. Uncle Phil could cook. He can do that. I just like honesty. I like us all to be honesty and throw it out. Sean says, Stewart played some corner in high school. That's pretty much all he played. He's an excellent corner. Steely Matt, what's up, buddy? Steely Matt, great show, Chuck. Thank you, bud. Love connecting with you guys on here. I did not catch the answer about where Offord was wearing that Oregon stuff. I'll tell you what, though, man. I I talked to Naeem Offord's dad. So Tyler says, what about Jakeem Stewart as well, Chuck? Hey, we're in his top 4 as of now. And, from everything we're hearing, he is definitely going to reclassify. But when he does, more people come to that party. But he seems to like us. He seems to like us more than the other in the top 4. I think that we're his number 1, to be honest. I really do. Obviously going to be incredibly tough to pull him out of LSU because they're going to come so hard. Because when you lose a guy like that, who's kind of, that's the kind of guy you're looking at. Like, this guy could potentially be a number 1 overall pick. And if you lose a guy like that out of state, not only do you lose that potential number 1 overall pick looking player, but you get a lot of egg on your face and you look pretty foolish and your fan base goes bananas. You know how we would be, right? So you're coming with everything you've got, like everything. And that's going to be a tough pull, man. Really tough pull. But I don't like to put a whole lot into what these guys are wearing. And we got to keep this in mind too. When we talk about these guys in the class of 2025, from the time they get all this gear, right? They're on their official visits and they're on their camp circuits. They get all this gear from all these schools that are recruiting them. And they've got essentially, 4 or 5 months to wear all this gear, this new gear they get, before they commit to a school. And now they can't really wear the other gear anymore. Like Justin Hill was wearing his USC hat in an interview last week or a week and a half ago. And everybody was kind of like, what the heck? He's wearing a USC hat. Well, on July 3rd, he's probably going to have to give that hat away along with a couple of boxes full of gear from other schools. So wear it now while you can, because once you make your commitment, you're not going to be out there wearing it. Michigan fan giving Juck money. What kind of rivalry is this? Comment of the night. Love it. That's a class dude. That's a class act. And I got to say, I've had nothing but excellent experiences with the Duck fans. That's probably my first one since I started the show that's been nice with a Michigan fan. So that was really nice of him. I hope he was treating you guys good in here too. Bob Larson says, Duck fan here. Are you at all concerned about the reluctance Chip Kelly has shown towards recruiting? No. And I'll tell you why. Well, for starters, he actually went and traveled and saw quite a few quarterbacks, and that was great. But now with the rule change, you can designate whoever you want to be the traveling recruiters. And I don't know, like, if they're not happy or if Day doesn't want Chip to go out and be the one to do that, I feel pretty confident that they're going to have somebody in that position that's going to be better suited at it. And I'm sure there's a lot of people chomping at the bit to cut their teeth. That'll be really aggressive. And a lot of times it's about being aggressive. And no, I know what you're saying. He's not aggressive with it. It's not what he wants to do. It's the same thing with our defensive coordinator, Jim Knowles. They're older dudes. They're weird, mad scientist types. They want to drop ball plays. You know what I mean? They don't want to deal with other nonsense. Chris Sauer says it's easier to develop 4 and 5 stars, but we need to start developing more 3 stars. And I'm telling you, it's a great point. And you need it for a couple things. You need to have guys that are going to stick around. You need to have guys that, and a lot of these 3 stars are going to be Ohio guys. It brings more of that into it. But the 3 stars they got in this particular class, guys with a lot of high upside. I really think they really nailed it. Really, really awesome looking players with great upside. And you do need that. You need a mix of everything. Like that 90% blue chip ratio is awesome and it's the best in the country. But is that the best way to put together a team? I don't know. It remains to be seen. But I do think having a mix of guys who are hungrier, who are trying to get better, playing with those guys who are naturally maybe more gifted or have more experience to try to get better, having a mix of all that is a good thing. I don't think it's a bad thing at all. Of course, it helps you with money as well. Those guys obviously don't cost as much when they come in. Sean says, This one in Marion is all OSU. It's a store that's split in Maumee, Ohio, that is split down the middle. Where's Maumee? Is that by Sandusky? By you? Mello says we don't need Chip to recruit. No, we especially do not now that we are able to substitute out. Dev says Javon McFadden, a lineman from Maryland, down to Ohio State, Maryland, and Colorado. Dude, are you serious? He said he's going to wait till the season to make his decision, and I don't see any way this guy chooses Maryland or Colorado over Ohio State. So unless somebody comes in hard late and makes a swing, I think we're going to get him. Steely Matt says Juck is the real deal. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you. I'm just here for the party, bud. Just here for the Buckeye party. Dev says we have the number one, so I would say Chip Kelly's just fine. He is. I'll tell you what, though. I was excited. Chip was out on the road, and he was going to see these quarterbacks. And now it looks the 2026 quarterbacks. And I was really excited for Ryder Lyons out in California. Went and saw him in Folsom, California. Then he was going to go see Dia Bell. So he's traveling, going to see these 26 quarterbacks. And I'm getting very excited. Granted, we don't need some excellent quarterback in the class of 2026. It would have just been gravy, right? Like that's the one spot with Julian and Tavian that you can afford to have a class where you bring in a more developmental guy in 26. But I was watching a couple of these dudes, Dia Bell and Ryder Lyons, like, man, I'm getting excited. And Chip was out on the road checking them out, and I was getting pretty pumped for it, ready to land one of these dudes. And within the matter of 25 days, we just watched the quarterback board just disappear. This guy goes bing, 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 and then boom, like they're all off the board. It's like, whoa. That was crazy fast. I've never seen anything like that. They all got scared. They're going to miss out on their spot. And that was wild. Blue Wolverine says, I have seen you guest host on some other shows as well. $9.99, dude. You're spoiling me here. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that so much. I have. Maybe you saw me on the Scarlet and Blue show. That's one Ohio State host, one Michigan host. And that's all they talk about it. Well, they talk about the Big Ten a little bit too, but it's the rivalry. It's from his perspective and from his perspective. I absolutely think they're both really good dudes. I like them a lot. So I always enjoy going on other shows because until I got the nerve to work up to do this, it's always like it takes me 3.5 hours to do my show, to write out all the notes, to read everything. Here, I can just come on and talk to you guys. So this is absolutely a lot of fun. I don't know how it's coming off to you guys. You're doing a great job considering you say you're not comfortable doing the live format. Keep up the good work, says Bradley. Thank you, Bradley. You guys make me a lot more comfortable than I thought I would have been. Our guy here, Dev, is giving Blue Wolverine some props, and he deserves it. Blue Wolverine's showing the Buckeye support. Heck yeah. Richie Dubb says he's not going with Texas in the SEC. He's definitely going with Georgia. I can respect it. They're obviously the odds-on favorite for it. But I just want to see the upset, man. I don't want to see – I'm tired of Georgia having nice things. I want to see him lose again this year. Brandingo says, Juck has a pretty sweet-looking man cave. Thanks, dude. I love it down here. I really do. My gym's over there. I work out. Come over here. It's excellent. Took me a lot of years to set this place up the way I wanted it. Fisherman says it's crazy. UGA hasn't lost a regular season game since 2020. It really is, man. They're incredibly impressive. I'm incredibly this Kirby's so good, dude. He really is. He's so good. And I just I hope that Ryan Day can kind of follow in his path where Kirby had a lot of the fan base that couldn't stand him 3 and 4 years in for stupid blunders he made. Bad stuff at the end of games. And, you know, there was a lot of people that wanted Kirby out of there too. So my hope is we get kind of the same deal. And it was just this season right now that Kirby won his first national championship for Day. So season number 6. Who knows, man? Might just be kind of the same thing going on here. Cody says, the funny thing is, I never saw Brew as a corner. We all saw he was bigger in terms of muscle mass than Sanchez and offered. I always wanted to land him, and eventually he becomes a safety. Definitely bigger. On their official visit, those pictures that came out, I did a thumbnail with the 3 of them, and I just kept looking at this like, geez, dude. I mean, he is way bigger than them. But he wants to play corner. I guess that's where the bigger money is. Here we go. Sub-Zero says, why do people not give Carter Lowe enough credit? Very talented, and he was recruited from the trenches of the rivalry, and that, to me, is a great job for the O-line coach. This is 100% true. The reason is Fry doesn't get a ton of credit for that is because he's from Ohio, but I don't think everybody takes into account that that's a Toledo battle. And a Toledo battle for an Ohio lineman against Michigan, that's a coin flip battle. And that's, you get props for that one, for sure. You should, from everybody. And second, the reason everybody's not so excited about Carter Lowe is because he committed so early. If Carter Lowe was still on the board right now, people would be going crazy. We got to get Carter Lowe. We got to get Carter Lowe. But that's what happens when you commit. I was thinking the other day, imagine if Devin Sanchez was still out there and it was coming down to the wire here. Sanchez was going to make a decision on July 3rd. We would have been for the last 2 months like, we got to get this dude. We got to get him. But, when these guys get in the class, it's like, okay, we got him, on to the next. And the next guy becomes more exciting. But I really, I was thinking about that the other day, Sub-Zero. I think I've talked about it on the show a few times. But you're right. And then some footage came out of Carter Lowe from that Rivals camp. Wow, he's looking great, looking thicker since we last saw him, and so quick for a guy that size. So incredibly quick. Dev says, Carter Lowe is one of the best tackles in the nation, and he's a Buckeye. Absolutely is. And he's only going to get bigger and better. I've not listened to him in an interview. I would like to hear him talk. Terry says, bold prediction, Oregon is our new nemesis. I was thinking somebody was ragging on Oregon, saying they want to be our rival so bad. Could you imagine if we all just decided together for a couple of weeks that we were going to say Oregon was our new rival and just quit responding to the Michigan folks because we're all online all the time? Oregon's our new rival now. It would make them so mad. It would be pretty funny if we could all coordinate that. I would be up for that if we could coordinate that, just to watch them go crazy. Nobody's talking about any of their games next year. They're talking about the game on the 12th against Oregon, right? As long as Juck goes on after Kirk and Nevada, all's good. Jeff, hey, Jeff, what's up, buddy? Jeff says good morning every day to the chat. Jeff says Hill is a true game changer. He really is, man. His high school film is one of the more entertaining ones you could watch. Absolutely fantastic player. Kind of quiet. I like his vibe. I like everything about him. I like his big bushy hair. The dude's just an animal. Dorian says, keep the culture in here like this, Chuck. You're an original. Hey, thanks. I'm not changing. This is just who I am, guys. Mello, listen, I think this is the only way anybody could have properly made me understand how this is pronounced. So thank you. Pooh like number 2. It's a rapper. That makes sense now. In terms of following Michigan, you keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Plus, it's fun punching air at the dumb stuff they say, says Cody. That's true. I just realized this is why you get reps. I just realized if I read these on this right side, the letters are much bigger and I don't have to squint. Okay, and this is why you practice. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you letting me get my reps here with you. LeBron's hairline, a rapper named Pooh Shiesty. All right, guys. I won't listen to his music because I don't really listen to much music, but I'll take your name for it. Steely Matt says, sobriety is awesome. Yes, it is. I am a recovering alcoholic. I've been sober since 2008, and sobriety is awesome. Too Smooth KG. Do you think Dorian Moore will commit to Oregon? If he does, how do you feel about that? If he does, who has the better wide receiver group, OSU or Oregon? If Dorian Moore is at Oregon, well, next year they're going to lose Evan Stewart. Will Evan Stewart be gone, or he'll still be there next year? Do they lose Holden? I'm not quite sure who they're losing next year. I mean, if everybody is still there next year with Dorian Moore, and based on what Ohio State has coming in, and with Emeka leaving, I don't know. You might lean Oregon unless JJ does what I think he's going to do this year, which is absolutely show out. So tough to say until we see what JJ does. But that would be, again, really close. Like right now, the wide receiver rooms are really close. We saw what Phil Steele ranked him number 1 and number 3. Everybody's got them both in the top 3 essentially right now as they stand. Both Oregon's wide receiver room and Ohio State's. I don't think Dorian Moore's going there. I think he's staying in Texas, so it's probably a moot point. But interesting thought. I really do need to. I'll write that down and double back on this one on my next show, unless one of the Ducks can answer this for me. And I just don't know. I feel like I'm behind on your guys' comments, but I'm going as fast as I can. Chris Sowers talking about Naeem Offord said, no, he was wearing an Oregon shirt at a youth event. Was it in Alabama at home? Steely says, Chuck needs a mod and some help. I'm sorry, dude. Thought I was doing all right. JR says, it was on his IG story. He posted like 3 pictures. One of them was in an Oregon shirt. It was subtle. Yeah. So what do you think about my theory? That these guys got to wear it, right? They got to wear their stuff because once they commit, they can't wear it anymore. Never mind. Naeem just blew that out of the water. He's wearing it and he's committed. My theory's over. Cody says, sorry, Chuck, Goodyear sucks. Coming from Northwest Ohio with a dad who was 30 years plus at Cooper Tire. Cooper Tire. I'm not familiar, I don't think. But you know I'm all Goodyear. Curse Designs, he's going to help me mod. Peace, Ohio. Stephanie's got a big long in here. Stephanie says, I think this class will be the best class we've had since they ranked players. To get there, we need Sanders, Stewart, and Hill. I know that's asking a lot, but we are the Ohio State Buckeyes. Yes, we are. The class of 2021 had 12 top 100 players and I think 7 composite 5-stars, which was absolutely insane. Still didn't win the recruiting crown, which was absolutely furious and infuriating. Chris saw the picture too. Naeem Offord wearing oh no, he's talking about TJ Alford wearing Florida State gloves in his story. Somebody asked me about TJ today, man. TJ's so locked in. No worries about him whatsoever. Karis running out of steam. He's out of here. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you so much. Ryan Dave's Beard says, I'm glad you guys do these shows. I work around the Akron, Cleveland area. It's always awesome driving and putting the show on in the morning. Makes the off season awesome. Thanks, dude. I started the show in the off season, so I don't know what it's like yet to do the show during the season. I'm so excited. But I can tell you this, it's tough to consistently come up with things to talk about sometimes in the off season. Ryan Dave's Beard, Akron is where Chris Drew is from. No. Stephanie says Chris Drew makes up for Zach. Yeah, me and Chris, we're from Akron. Chris is a good buddy of mine. We have breakfast together at a restaurant down the street here. And he's coming over next week to help me get this microphone situated. He's got this microphone set up where it makes his voice sound so much better than it sounds in real life. I promise. He sounds way better on the microphone than he does in real life. But yeah, we're Akron boys. He's a West Sider. I'm a North Sider. And he's going to make my voice sound magic like his. JR says, Chris is my guy. He was the first one to ever answer when I reached out to him with help starting a podcast. He was patient and helpful. Not many are like him. He's great. Absolutely. Like I said, he's coming over to help me set this up. Like, he doesn't need to do that. As a matter of fact, he offered to do that. I didn't even ask. All right. I was talking about his voice sounding awesome in one show. He was like, I can set you up. I'll come over. Like, I don't mean like he said my voice sucked. I need help. But yeah, he is an excellent dude. No doubt. Deshaun and Desi are dogs. They are, man. Love those two dudes. They're fantastic. Cody says, Chuck, you know how fast this state is. We typically have 20 plus subs, sub 11, 100-meter dash kids every year. But can those kids play ball? Yeah, man, I know what you're saying, but you know, there's not a ton of cornerbacks on that list that there are to get. You know what I mean? So if you're gonna get one, you're gonna want to get the fast one, right? Mello says Chris Drew will be the Stephen A. of sports podcasting. Bet that. I wouldn't put anything past him. He's very talented, and you really recognize it when you're used to talking like I'm used to talking on these discussions with other amateurs like myself. And the difference when I was talking with other amateurs like myself to when I did my show with Chris, wow, it was just like very apparent. Like, this is totally different. And it was somewhat intimidating, to be honest. Somewhat intimidating. RDB says, I watch in silence and turn off the chat. It's not for me. I just enjoy the show. Oh, I missed what he's talking about here. I got to find out. Here we go. Menace is a great show. I just can't get with Ohio State, Michigan fans arguing for an hour and a half. It's toxic in the chat, but the show is good. Yeah, man, that chat, it's different. It's different than it used to be. That's for sure. Blue Wolverine is trying to flip Chuck. Okay, Dorian vouches for Blue Wolverine, so that's good. That's good. I like to hear that. That means we're all good. And there's a fact right there. All right, let me skip to the end here. Oh, Sean, thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. Sean says, from watching your first show until now, you turned into one of the best podcasters in the nation. I'm proud of you. You deserve all the success, bro. You're too kind, buddy. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. You have been absolutely integral in encouraging me to continue to go when I was trying to quit after 2 months because I did not like the mean comments. That's true. I was having a hard time with the nasty comments, and Sean helped talk me through that. It's really tough putting yourself out here like this. I did not think that I would be able to continue to do it for a little bit there, but I got through it and got used to it and thickened my skin up. And I've made a lot of friends, and I'm happy that I have. Oh, here's our duck guy. Okay. We lose Tez Johnson for sure. Evan's going to be a junior, I believe, after this year. If he goes, insane for sure. He'll go into the draft. Trayshawn, I believe, is a senior, so he's gone. But the Ducks also have, I believe, a couple of studs coming up behind. I know there's that one kid. He's 6'6". I watched his high school film once. Really good. Yeah, I'd have to check. But I will go through that. Their wide receiver room's loaded. They really are. They really are. They've done a great job. They've done great in the portal. I mean, I really believe that, we were looking at for a long time Ohio State, Alabama, and Georgia, the 3 top dogs in recruiting. Well, now we need to not just talk about it in the way of recruiting. We need to say talent acquisition, and we need to include the transfer portal. And if you include that, Oregon's already there, like in that top 4. They're handpicking who they want in the transfer portal. So if this system, as long as this system stays like it is, it won't be long before, and I don't think it's far now, but it won't be long before those 4 teams, and Oregon included, are the 4 most talented rosters. And that obviously is a big leg up on everybody else. But they're definitely the rivalry that we're starting here, and it is going to be a rivalry. I see some people downplay it like you're giving Oregon too much respect if you say it's going to be a rivalry. I mean, there's no doubt this is coming. This has been building, and it's going to be fun. And I'm all for it because the rivalry with Michigan has become so toxic that this one's very refreshing to me. Not that it's ever going to be a bigger rivalry than that one, but this one feels like a more exciting one to me in some ways. The other one feels like it's just got a different feel to me. Duck says, Landon's a good coach, but he still needs to win some meaningful games. I mean, his best win is essentially Utah and Rice Eccles. No doubt. He's not yet won the big games. I like the way he lost the games against Washington. I mean, he was very aggressive, and I would rather have a coach who's losing in an aggressive way than losing, giving up at the, playing very conservative at the end of games. I'd much rather have a guy like him. I think he'll get it. Cody says, Chuck, you being overwhelmed is a good thing. It means you're killing it. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. Dago says, I don't think Blue has an NIL big enough to flip Chuck. Yeah, man. Like I don't know that there's a price that could do that. Like, some things are just bigger than money. Yaha. Yes, I have. JR says, have you watched Pettijohn's film yet? I can't believe how athletic he is. He is. 247 is verified, 100 meter of 10.77, and a 5'10 high jump. Sick. He is nasty. I absolutely love him. His film is really fun. I've watched just on the show, we've done about maybe like a minute and a half, but I got a lot of it. And I want to do a full one when he commits or maybe leading up to it. And I really think it's not going to be too much longer. I really do. And I think we're going to get him. Now, do you guys, if anybody's watched both Tyler Atkinson and Riley Pettijohn, what are your thoughts on that? I am man, Tyler Atkinson is otherworldly to me. Oh, Shepherd Ducks does not like his aggressiveness. No, he does. I like his aggressiveness, but there's a point where you're too aggressive, or there's a point where you're aggressive, or you're Lane Kiffin at USC. Okay, no, fair enough. Fair enough. I guess being on the outside looking in, I can see how that would be more stressful for you. Okay, so here's the comparison for CJ Hicks, also an amazingly dynamic athlete. He was 11.6 in the 100 meter. What was the weight difference coming out, though? CJ was a bit thicker, wasn't he? Chris saw Turbo Rogers burn him at the Rivals camp. Dude, Turbo is disgustingly fast. Mello says Tyler all day. I got to agree there. Chris says Pettijohn. Mika agrees. Tyler Atkinson. Bradley agrees. Tyler Atkinson. Cody says, Juck, don't change your voice. Chris has voice interaction. That means something to him. You're just a bro talking ball, and that's what we want. I don't know what that means. What's that mean? Voice interaction. I just want to sound handsome. Chris sounds so handsome. Ken says, Tyler Atkinson is a beast with a nose for the football, and he will go to UGA. Just raining on my parade here, bro. Atkinson is a killer. Mello says, don't bet your check on that, Ken. Oh my gosh, listen to this. So Tyler said, Chuck, did you hear that Texas fans are making excuses saying Riley Pettijohn is slow? Yes, I did see this today. All of a sudden, they've been thought to get Riley Pettijohn basically a lock for a long time. And now the writing seems on the wall that they may not get him, and it might be between now Texas A&M and Ohio State. And all of a sudden, not the coaching staff cool on him, but the fan base is cooling on him. He's slow. He's I heard a bunch of different knocks on him in the last 2 days. It was, you morons. Like, seriously? Okay. This is why I love college football, though. We're all crazy, right? Every fan base is just nuts. Totally illogical. JR says Hicks and Pettijohn were both at 215, but Hicks is 6'3", Pettijohn is 6'1.5". Doggone impressive. Bradley says, unfortunately, he's going to be a Bulldog. You guys are just killing me here. He definitely likes Ohio State, though. Cody says, Chuck, is there any way you would ever do a video on all of your nasty comments? Yes. Yes, I will. I've had some doozies, and I've been saving them. Brandingo says, can't wait for the game. I'd love for Trey to have a huge game and go out on top in the shoe. Absolutely. He deserves it for all his struggles while staying loyal to the Bucks. Man, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, we're having a laugh over here at Texas fans take on Pettijohn. Unbelievable. Oh, this is a good comment here. So Mello is a Georgia resident. He says he went to the state semifinals last year between Grayson and Milton High School, and half of those kids had on Ohio State gloves, and they all love the Bucks. And I know for a fact Tyler loves OSU. So you never know. You never know, guys. He came up for a visit, week and a half ago? And it wasn't a long time planned visit. It was hey, let's do this. And he just dropped what he was doing, came up for a visit. That's promising. I mean, very tough now with Kirby. Tell him, Chuck, Oregon is our new Penn State. I mean, if we're talking like the second most important game of the year every year, yeah, absolutely, right? That's no longer Penn State. Of course, we're not going to play them both every year either. I still wish we'd have kept that Penn State game protected. But if we'd have kept that Penn State game protected, then it might be less times you get to play SC or Oregon. Well, it would be. I don't know. I feel like we've built enough history with Penn State at this point over the last 25 years that's a game that is always something we've looked forward to every year. The second biggest game usually, unless we got a excellent out of conference in the beginning of the year. And it's just always a fun game. It's always a fun game. And I also love playing in the whiteout. Great test. And in this system now where you can lose a game, it doesn't kill your season. I want to be part of games like that. Of course, thanks to Fox, we probably won't get those whiteouts if we were to move forward with Penn State. I can't wait till something changes with that deal. They can't have a big opponent for the whiteout anymore because Fox is going to put it on at noon. So they got to have a crap opponent like in Iowa. Mello says they have Kirby. We have James. He's young and he has everything that these linebackers want to do. Still the leading tackler in Rams franchise history and is relatable to kids. All 100% true. Somebody said to me, what did they say? They said in the comments today when talking about Tyler Atkinson that James couldn't land Sammy Brown out of Georgia. These Georgia linebackers don't leave the state. Well, Sammy Brown is a Georgia linebacker, the guy he referenced, who left the state and went to Clemson. And no, James didn't land him. But James was also not on the staff full time. And as we remember, that was a concern for some of those linebackers that he might not be there. So this is his first cycle. And it's not even a full cycle. And look what he's done. If he lands Pettijohn and TJ with someone that I think is a great evaluation and Eli Lee, sky's the limit. And now Tyler Atkinson's in play to me. For sure. Like that. James has such presence. This guy just owns every room he's in. He's just unbelievable. Eli Lee is absolutely no slouch. And when you listen to James talk about him, like this isn't just some throw-in developmental guy. He's absolutely counting on Eli Lee to be a big-time contributor at some point in his career. All right, guys. We are at an hour and 18 minutes. I thank you so much for coming in to watch and let me get some reps. Thank you so much to those of you who popped me a super chat. That was incredibly grateful. I'm incredibly grateful and appreciative for all you guys, but most especially for talking football with me, talking Buckeyes with me, which is all I want to do most of the day. So that'll be my show today. And I appreciate you so much. We'll schedule one of these later on this week, and I will bring you a couple of segments to go along with the chat. So we'll do a couple segments, and then we'll do some open forum like we did today. Thank you, JR. Thank you, CW. Good night, Fisherman. Appreciate you, buddy. See you, Chrome. See you, Steely Matt. Appreciate you, bud. Have a good one, Donnie. Thanks, Richie. Appreciate you, man. NFL XP. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you so much. Appreciate you, man. Thanks, guys. Have a good one. We'll see you guys.